South Africa have been left in massive, massive mountain to climb. We are in a situation where we were basically in this situation, I guess, after our first innings. I'm actually quite surprised, to be honest, that New Zealand followed on, um, given how cheaply they bowled us out for. And having 500 on the board again, they are definitely stamping their authority in this match. But it's one of those situations you where I'm not mad about it. I'm more, I would say, disappointed about it because of the hope that you have before a test match when you know what these players can do and they underperform. And I think that's the biggest disappointment from me from with regards to the batting department, particularly with the bowlers. I would say that they bowled well for at least three quarters of this, or at least three quarters of this match. I feel they bowled pretty well. I mean, other than to Kane Williamson, the plans have been off. Kane Williamson is the best test batter in the world, so it does make it very hard to get your plans right. But for example, in the first test, there were some things that they could have done better with regards to the fielding against Kane Williamson and the bowling plans. And then obviously Ravindra was really good in the first test. That took the game away from us completely. We had no plan for him. Someone that scored his maiden 100 in this match. So I'm more disappointed than angry about the situation. And but it's not over. I'm going to still remain and hold on to that hope that we can at least show fight in our second opportunity or bite at the cherry. I think that a victory is almost off um, off the table almost when unless something miraculous happens, because something miraculous would have to happen. It would be the highest chase in his test history if we can pull it off. So they there's a lot that I wanted to speak about with regards to the approach to this particular game on today's review show. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. We're on the brink of 5,000 subscribers, so please help us get there. I'd also like you guys to please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And I would like you guys to also join our business corner. We have recently launched this business corner for businesses, entrepreneurs, startups to market their business effectively and affordably. So go and check the link out. Send it to your friends and family or colleagues that are looking to start a business or already have a business, and let's get the conversation going and see how we can help you as a business in this digital marketing era that we live in, and in this digital space that we live in. We know that for to do advertising in the digital space can be quite expensive, particularly with the big companies and mass media that is around that are charging a nominal leg for people to get their marketing through channels through them. So we've created an ulterior option for you guys to help you reach an audience and market to an audience effectively as well as affordably. So go check out the link. It's in the description as well as on the screen right now. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Let's discuss this first test, day 3. A very good evening and good morning, sorry, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host Khalid Moeddin, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South Africa versus New Zealand, the first test, day 3. So yeah, it's been quite a difficult the last 3 days. Ikram said, Khan, it looks like you haven't been sleeping for a few days. Yeah, no, I mean, it's I've been staying up to watch this game. I've been sleeping sporadically to try and make up for it in patches. It's been a struggle to try and manage this particular series. This time around, it's been very difficult for me. I don't know why. It has been quite tough for me this time around to work through the night and then try and sleep during the afternoons. Has been very difficult for me. I don't know why, but yeah, we get through it. You do what you have to do. You make the sacrifices that you have to make to if you want to reach your goals and dreams. So this is something that I have to do. Test cricket is important to this channel. Test cricket is important to me. So I'm going to obviously try my best to give the best coverage as possible. Okay, so let's get into the review and explain what has happened in this match. The way David Bedingham looked yesterday and the way KP was at the crease yesterday, I thought there was some hope to at least try and make the follow on a lot more difficult for New Zealand. I was hoping that we would reduce the total by a lot more and them to being the saviors for South Africa and and then when we send New Zealand back into to bat, that they would have to work hard for the to get into that 500 lead again if they wanted it. But we never really made it that tough for them. Uh, in fact, they made it quite tough for us. Their bowlers showed our bowlers how you bowl on the surface. Because, I mean, the difference between the two is maybe a couple of Ks between their bowlers and our bowlers. They have more bowlers that bowl 130, 135 consistently than us. But the difference has also been the accuracy of putting the ball in dangerous spots on the wicket consistently. That's been the difference 100% here between our two bowling attacks. New Zealand are showing the experience that they can bowl as a unit and test the opposition batters consistently. But the bowlers is not where I'm going to be upset about because I kind of thought, I kind of knew what we were going to get ourselves into with regards to our bowling attack. Yes, I didn't expect us to concede 500. Um, but I didn't expect this bowling attack to concede 500, but that is largely got to do with misinformation, I would say, with regards to certain players. Firstly, I did not think that Ruanda Swat is a 118, 117 bowler. I don't know for what reason, but I thought that he was more in the 130s. I honestly didn't think that he was a 118 bowler. That never crossed my mind ever. So I think this is the first time I've seen him with a speed gun, bowling, and then there's a speed gun. Because there were a lot of rumors around, or not rumors, there was a lot of people saying back in the day when he was coming through that he's a 130 and he can reach a 140 with the ball. Now, that must have been a myth because there's no way he can be bowling 180 now. So that was a concern. Dwan Olivier without pace is, I don't know. It's almost, I don't want to even use the word and be too harsh and say useless, but I don't see the point of having Dwan Olivier if he's not going to have the pace that he has had because he doesn't offer really anything else. He's been quite expensive. No wicket taking options for him, and he's extremely slow and easy to read. So the batters are finding it quite easy to play against him. To be honest, I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to say it quite right now that for the second test, I'm going to really make the call, even without the weather conditions and haven't seen the pitch. Michlane Mapungwana would offer a lot more with his height, and I think he's a little bit quicker in this particular team. Uh, and it's quite interesting to say that it's quite interesting to see what Michlali will be able to do. I think with his height, I think he has a little bit more pace. That he should come in maybe for Duan Olivier. I don't know. We've really, I think, exposed our domestic senior with regards to the bowling attacks, because Ruanda Swat and Duan Olivier and Dane Patterson. I mean, Dane Patterson has bowled exceptionally well this season for MI. Uh, so that's also an issue. I think it's an issue all around. We don't really have much pace bowlers other than the ones that have been selected already. I think this is why we fast track fast bowlers into the team. I don't know what I'm saying here. Trying to look for some positivity, and I'm trying to be optimistic like I always am on this channel, and at the moment I'm struggling to find it. So I'm going to get into the live chat very soon, but let's just continue with this review first and analyze what has happened. First and foremost, there's been a lack of concentration, I think, in from our batters. I've spoke about it on yesterday's show as well, but I think a lack of concentration over here. We did all the hard yards to be patient, fight to stay in, and then we played rash shots. Zubair Ramza, who needed to take more responsibility in this match, he did that. David Bedingham, who needed to take more responsibility in this match, he did the same thing. Keegan Peterson, who was supposed to take the biggest responsibility here, he also did the same thing. They all did the hard yards, facing a lot of balls, spending time in the middle to just throw their wicket away. That's been the major concern for me in this test so far. The three guys in the middle order that we were supposed to lean on and turn to gave us hope by playing with the right attitude to get themselves in, but then throwing a lack of concentration, poor shot selection, and they lose their wicket at a critical time in the match. The rest, I mean, what can we say? Rwanda Swat 0, Clyde Fontaine 9. It's really starting to get to a point where we are, as fans, are going to get frustrated and question why Clyde Fontaine is in the team. If he can't perform in the second innings, there's going to be questions about that, given his up and down performances domestically. He's had one good season in the last 3 years. This season he hasn't been that great. Last season he hasn't been. He was good, and then the season before that he wasn't necessarily that great. So is he in the team just as a keeper? He's going to be the questions that I feel that fans are going to have throughout social media, as well as on here on the live chat. Probably when I get into it, I'll probably see if that is true or not. But there's going to be questions about his selection in the team with regards to whether it's just as a keeper or it is at the batter. There was a sign once again. The hard yards were done by the amount of balls played. In fact, I think Clyde Fontaine left quite well today. His defense was quite good today. But in the end, they haven't found the gear to kick on. It was a poor shot selection to go out as well. Jumping down the track and lofting it to cover. It was all the hard yards were done with regards to minutes at the crease, balls faced, all of those type of things. And then ends up doing a rash thing to lose the wicket. So for the second innings, when we get sent into bat again, we need to make sure that we can concentrate. Coach Shukri Conrad has a massive job to do with regards to what message he's going to be giving these players to give them the right mentality going into this particular game, into this particular innings. I think that Eddie Moore is going to have to, Eddie Moore, Neil Brandt, Reiner van Tonder are going to be have to play out to their skins if they want to get a draw out of this match, or even a victory out of this match, or any result out of this match. There's going to have to be a lot of. It's going to be, like I said, this is going to be the ultimate test, but this is going to really be a out of comfort zone war for them. They're going to have to focus, and they're going to have to dig in, and they're going to have large spells of concentration if they want to be competitive in this match, and it's going to be extremely tough. And if these players wanted a wake up call to see what test cricket is all about, they've been given it in the most, I would say, humane manner. Because the way New Zealand is going about their business against us is almost, I would say, it's a humble. They're doing it in a humble manner still. This is why I actually really like the New Zealand cricket team. They they have this amazing temperament about them, and they're not necessarily rubbing it in our faces with their mouths or with their actions per se. They're going about their business quietly and destroying us silently. It's like the silent killer at the moment. And when I look at this performance, it is definitely not up to scratch. Yes, I understand that this is an inexperienced team. Yes, I understand that this is a team that doesn't have much test caps under their belt. But I said it on the preview show that I would like to see a fight from the boys. I would like to see a, a, the effort. And it's difficult to say that it's difficult to say that they are not putting in the effort. But I think there's improvement that can happen in this particular match. I want to see a fight at least towards the end, and not, they shouldn't roll over and give up. They're doing all the hard yards to get themselves into the match, and then they, like I said, throwing the wicket away. If they were dismissed by good deliveries, then I can fully understand it. Reina van Tonder got a good ball in the first innings, but the rest, majority of them threw their wickets away. Patience is going to be key here, and it looks like majority of the batters got impatient and ended up picking the wrong shots. So they have to work on concentrating for longer periods of time if they want any result in this particular match. But at the moment, it isn't looking good. At the moment, it is looking like New Zealand's going to thrash us. That's how it seems, and that's how it's looking at the moment. And New Zealand's 100% in the lead over here with regards to having this match wrapped up. I thought that they wouldn't follow on and try and bowl us out. Given our performance in the first innings, that could have been really possible. And we're sitting with the situation that we are sitting in with currently. So ultimately, we have a massive task on our hands for day 4. And that is the reality that we are sitting with. Okay, let me get into the live chat and see what you guys have had to say. Lorenzo says, "What's the point of Clyde Fontaine in the team? Just keep wicket. Rather let KP or Bedingham keep and select another all-rounder or spinner. I'm sorry, but Clyde is just not it," says Lorenzo. I mean, I know that you don't like Clyde Fontaine and you didn't think that he should have been in the side, but the criticism for him should be given towards all of the players then in this match. They should all get the same type of attention from you, because they've all kind of not done anything in this match. Even Ruan de Swat bats ahead of him. Ikram, and I do agree with you that the selection of Clyde Fontaine has come um, kind of out of nowhere in a way, because his given his track record over the last 3-4 years, he's only really had one good season. His keeping ability is incredible, but that shouldn't be a reason alone to pick a player. With SI20 and Bafana Afghan run, who is actually following the series in South Africa? I mean, I am. I think I still believe that Test cricket is the pinnacle, and it doesn't matter to me that it is a weakened team, because I wanted to see what these other players can do. That's why I said Munsami and Tatoli are more deserving. Clyde doesn't have the body of work to justify his selection, so then you rather select on current form as it's your best bet. Um, yeah, but how can we give a player almost debuts that have only played a half a season in domestic Division One cricket? Like that's what I don't done. That's what I can't wrap my head around. Is yes, okay, I understand we have to play a second string team here, but there still has to be some sort of standard when you select a player. There has to be some sort of um, not, I wouldn't say standard, but I mean rule regarding selection, because otherwise we can just select a player that has scored, that has played, that has suddenly scored a couple of, that went on a run for 3-4 games towards an end of in the middle of a season, and then say, okay, cool, he must be selected in this particular case. Um, I like Munsami, I like Totoli, but they have they've only performed this season in Division One. This is their first Division One season, so I think it would have been a little bit premature for them to get a Proteas call up. Um, you had to pick the best out of the most experienced guys domestically. That's what I think, because this is not a pick on form type of um, format. Because regardless of your form that you're coming into a test match from domestic, you're going to be tested in a completely different way. Your form's not going to count really much for anything. I mean, even our experienced players that have come on form into the test arena have struggled, because you're tested in a completely different way. You're going to be tested in a completely different manner, in ways that you haven't been tested at domestically. Um, I don't think this is a type of format necessarily. Um, Wonderboy says all the hype up batters are proving why they are not being selected at a young age in Test cricket. A poor start from Bedingham. This guy doesn't want to bat long, says Wonderboy. Lorenzo says Hamza, KP, and Bedingham needs to take way more responsibility. The more quality batters always stands out in weak teams, so hopefully they get their act together. Yes, they need to have longer periods of concentration in this match. That's going to be the key. They need to find a way to focus. They need to talk to their batting coach, talk to Coach Shukri Conrad, and come up with some sort of method to hold to keep their concentration at a high level for long periods of time. All three of them lost their concentration at a crucial time in the match, going for shots that they shouldn't need to. If they need to block out a whole session and score singles, then so be it. That's what they need to do. This is not a this is not a situation where they have to feel that they need to go or need to take shots and need to score runs and need to score boundaries. They need to survive in the middle as long as possible. They have to bet time. That's what's gonna have to happen in this match. And it had to happen in the first innings too. But now there's absolutely no choice. That has to be the approach in the second innings. 100% has to be. And all of the batters need to do that. Need to find a way on how to leave the good deliveries, how to block the good deliveries, how to play it into the gap for ones and twos. That's going to have to be the approach. Only balls that are deserve to be hit should be hit. That's how Kane Williamson played. That's how Ravindra played. Even against this bowling attack that is not even inexperienced, but that is bowling as slow as they are, and that are nowhere near our best bowling attack, New Zealand's approach was the correct one. And that's what I respect about New Zealand in this particular match. They didn't come in here saying, you know what, this is a second, third inning team. We are just going to come out here and take them apart. They stuck to their strategies according to what the conditions served. And they stuck to that right through. They played risk-free cricket, 100% in this match. They only started playing shots when they were massively in the lead. That's the mentality that we should have. I mean, New Zealand should be playing shots like we are playing to get out. We shouldn't be playing those type of shots. I mean, they need to dig their heels in, and they need to try and survive over here and stick to the blimmin' basics. Just leave well, block well, play singles, play doubles, and hit the bad balls away. That should be the mentality. We shouldn't try to force runs and try to play shots that are not there. Wesley says, I feel for the squad was not well researched well enough. We needed some pace. We could have gotten Merrick Brett or Keith Dudgeon in there. I don't think they would have gone with Division 2 players, to be honest. Lawrence Bailey says, nothing that's happened in the match thus far comes as a surprise to me. New Zealand showing why they a world-class outfit, while we are definitely playing like a second, third string side. Lorenzo, we also have to talk about Juan Olivier. The guy is just not international standard anymore, in my opinion. He isn't. I'll say it hardly without pace. He's bang average. Wesley says speed gun needs to be implemented at domestic level. Khalid, even at under 19 World Cup, we see no speed gun. It's embarrassing from SA, but that's not necessarily SA's thing. That's the broadcast. I think the broadcasters provide speed guns, etc. I don't know actually who provides the speed guns, but it depends who's if the match is broadcasted or not. The under 19 level, yeah, I don't know why there's no speed gun at the under 19 level either. It would be nice to be able to see how fast these bowlers bowl at that age already, so that we can kind of be guided on where they're going for the future. The eye test doesn't really tell you everything, you know. There's a player maybe that we could have maybe thought about, I think, but once again, based on what I said earlier on, where I feel that players should be picked on more than one domestic season. Gideon Peters is a player that bowls pretty quickly as well. That didn't get picked up in the SA20. That perhaps could have been thrown in here, because it works a little bit different with bowlers, I feel, than batters. Yes, experience does give you the ability to be able to bowl consistently on spots, and being able to identify. I feel supposed to be able to identify the weak spots on a pitch and then put the ball there consistently. That's what I thought experience is going to give you with the ball. Um, but there's been a combination of great batting from New Zealand, which has completely tired us out, and fatigued us and forced us into bowling, or making mistakes with the ball in hand. Lawrence says Ruan Deswat was more selected for his batting. To be honest, he's always been that slow. Grant Wilson always stands up to the stumps when Ruan is bowling at the Dolphins. Yeah, yeah. It's surprising me though, from youth level going in. Back in the day at youth level, I thought he was a lot quicker. Wesley says our fielding is the aspect I'm most disappointed with. Our catching was pathetic. We gave Williamson 4 lives, and that can never happen. Lorenzo says, for me, Clyde and Dwan needs to make way for the next test. KP and Bedingham are genuine wicket keepers. When was this KP and Bedingham kept, though? Lawrence says, Mampong Wan is also allowed to 120s, though. He ain't quicker either. Easy. Okay. Well, then, in that case, I mean, I thought he was a little faster than that. Um, but at least he'll give you a different angle that you're bowling with, a little bit of height. We need Pitt in there to bowl long spells in the second test because these pacers will not get wickets cheaply. Lawrence Bailey says, think we must a trick not picking Huddersfield. Yoon, to be honest, he only signed for Pretoria Capitals after the test squad was announced. Fair enough. That is actually a good point. The balance is of this 11 is way off, says Lorenzo. I'm really disappointed in Peterson. He's hiding down the batting lineup and still can't get good scores. It's once again a good start and then going out at the crucial point. Not being able to convert his scores. Either his 50s or his 100, either his 50s or his 40s. Lorenzo saying Glenton Steerman shouldn't be in New Zealand. Glenton should have been in New Zealand as he was there before. Plus, he's way quicker than the lot currently playing. Lana Shukri should also stop picking guys he has a good relationship with and on feeling, because that's very much the vibe I'm getting in his last couple of test squads. He selected Where's Steerman. Steerman has had a very inconsistent season this season with injuries, etc., and things like that. So he hasn't necessarily played all the games this season, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's the reason why perhaps he hasn't been in and around. Um, you know, there is an advantage in Coach Shukri knowing the players, because that means that he understands the players' characters and mentalities if he knows them well. And you don't find out about that at the highest level. He kind of knows that before he selects them. Um, I think there's been a balance between him picking players that he trusts and then picking players that deserve it, to be honest. Um, the the length in which he backs the players or continues to play the player in the team, that's where they might be a little bit slightly concerned. Like, for example, with Ryan Rickleton, only getting a couple of games and then being dropped. So I don't necessarily have a massive issue with him picking players that he knows well and understands, because that means that he has a inside scoop into what their mentality is and what their character is like. But it shouldn't be at the detriment of picking someone that deserves to be selected. That's where the issue will start to come in. Like, I think there's one occasion where we can say that that's happened, and that's with Heinrich Klaassen and Calvin Reina, because Calvin Reina had played Test cricket at the time. No, by no means did I think that Heinrich Klaassen didn't deserve it based on his body of work that season and his body of work in domestic cricket. He did kind of deserve that call up, but because Calvin Reina at the time was performing well internationally, had hundreds under his belt, that's where the the criticism will come in with regards to that selection process. For this particular test squad, we needed to pick players with the right characters and temperament. And I still believe that these players do have the right character and temperament. I just feel that they need to find a way on how to how to prolong their concentration, because in this particular test match against this team, every single ball is a test. Every single ball is a struggle. So you almost have to reset your mind every single delivery. Forget about the previous one, focus on the next one. That needs to be the mentality at the crease every single delivery. Because I'm telling you that New Zealand is going to be thinking ahead already, because they are guys that have good strategy. So the best that we can do is to focus on every delivery and play each ball on merit. We shouldn't be afraid to leave the ball as well. Wonderboy says, Hardy, do you think Essend read the conditions wrong? Maybe they should have batted first, seeing that it is spinning with Satner getting 5.8 degrees turn. I think that they did. I think that what they saw on day one, the greenness that they saw on day one, was a little bit deceiving. I think perhaps we could have gone with Dane Pitt in this match. It would have been. I thought that we would have anyway. That was my thought process going into this match anyway. I didn't think that Ruan de Swart would get a game in this particular first test. But Ruan de Swart's been bowling okay. Considering he's bowling under 120, he's been picking up wickets, so important wickets in the match. So yeah, I don't have too much criticism about him, other than that he needs to come to party with the bat now, because we're going to need him. But I do believe that I did think that Dane Pitt would play regardless of the conditions, just to make sure that we can have a spinner that is experienced in the side, that can bowl those long overs and hold up an end. But Neil Brandt's been doing great with the ball, and that shows that maybe we should have selected we should have selected a spinner in the side. With regards to batting first, I think that initially I thought that we bowl first to give our bowlers the best possible chance of taking wickets, which is in that first session of the day, on day one. But unfortunately, it didn't go to plan. We only took 2 wickets in that first session. We were undone by great batting from Kane Williamson and Ravindra. I think the wicket is playing out how we thought it's going to play out. But I think that we maybe slightly over how can I say this in the right way? I think we predicted that we would play a lot better than we did. That's where I feel things kind of went wrong, because we thought that we would bat a lot better than we did. I don't think the team, Coach Shukri, the players would have thought that they would have been bowled out for the amount that they were bowled out for. And I don't think that they thought that they predicted that someone's going to score 240 in a test match against us. And especially Ravindra out of all the players. If anybody was going to do so, they would have probably thought it would be Kane Williamson. Kane's been in an exceptional form as well, and we've been put on the back foot from the start. So we would have backed ourselves to try and get wickets and bowl New Zealand out a lot earlier than we did. So, I mean, that would be the right mentality or mindset to go into a match. But the best period was still the first session for us to take a lot of wickets, and we didn't. So as soon as that happened, then the toss looks almost inevitably wrong. Because in hindsight, we can always look at things and say, okay, cool, that's the situation. I don't by any means think that this pitch is unbattable. We shouldn't be collapsing the way we collapsed. This is a type of pitch that you need to be patient and dig your heels in. And I first think we batted poorly. We made the wrong shot selections at the wrong times. And this has been a consistent thing with South African cricket at the moment. Leclerc says Rudy second would have been a great option ahead of Fortuin. I was shocked when he was not selected with his experience. To be fair, that would have been a good option. I'm not going to lie. Wesley says some under 19 players were picked for SA20. How did they get permission to miss games for under 19 World Cup? Are we saying is under 19 is more important than test matches? Huh? Oh, I see what you're saying. No, it's an ICC event. A World Cup is massive. And I don't think that the players that were picked would have played, to be honest. Perhaps maybe Queen Amapaka would have played. So I was a little bit baffled as to why they were allowed to play given their contracts and not the test players. But I think it's because if you take the test players out of the SA20, you've got no SA20. Let's just be honest. So, yeah, so I guess that's the reason why. Lorenzo agreed. Lawrence, yet Boucher was slated for doing exact same thing. Now everyone is quiet. No, I haven't been quiet. I also agree Lawrence Shukri should be called out the selections. We should at least be competitive despite the first two sessions on day one. We've been anything but that poor showing. They need to step up with a bat tomorrow, at least get 300. And that's 100% true. Yannick says, Brandon Glover, can he be brought back into the SA setup? Bedingham has had a lot to say about why he wasn't picked, but he has thrown his wicket away a lot. Ikram says, why are we being harsh on Shukri with regard to selection? He has small pool of players to select from. And that is an issue. I think we are being, I don't know why we have to be harsh all the time. The Boucher situation and the Shukri situation is very, very different. If you've been given a task to pick out of a small pool of players that you have been to pick from, with regards to, I agree with this 100% actually. When you have a pool of what you have to pick from, you are going to trust the players that have been the first thing you're going to do logically is to trust the players that have more domestic experience. It has to be the first stage that you look at before you look at. Obviously, you're going to look at performances over the last couple of years, but you're going to have to first look at experience and say, okay, who is the more experienced domestic players available to us? Who has a body of matches behind them first? And then you go look at how they've done over the last couple of seasons. Is there a season in there, a season or two in there that stands out? Because you can't go on one season in your on a first season and select a player for South Africa. You just can't. You have to analyze a player and how they performed over a couple of seasons, and not only look at the statistics, but how they approach the game. What is their mentality? How did they lose their wickets? How do they? What is their technique like at the crease? All of those type of things we need to look at. Now, there are going to be one or two players that we're going to have a criticism about because Coach Shukri is going to select. All coaches are going to do that. They're going to pick players that they trust and that they know and that they've seen the character and etc. That's going to happen. So that is always going to happen with regards to coaches. We can criticize, and I think we can criticize. Um, we can criticize the coach when he does something incorrect, and I don't mean that we shouldn't. Everybody should be able to have the freedom to do so. But I think that this particular test match and what has happened to Coach Shukri for this match is it's a shame, and it's quite unfair. Um, we have to say that. It's a very difficult task he has to be able to. It's a very difficult task for him to be able to rebuild South Africa's test team when things like this happen to you in a match. Akona says, I really question why some of the guys their cricket IQs. It's the first match, and every member here has not done well. To regret to to target one guy is really shocking. Yeah, we shouldn't be targeting one person. Um, like I said at the top of the show when to Lorenzo, we can't just be targeting Clairefontaine just because you think that he shouldn't have been selected in the side when everybody in a team has performed poorly. Totoli only scored 100 this season, and this is Mustasame's first. That's exactly my point I'm trying to make. Hey, Holly, can you please get a shot? Yes, Abba is doing great work with regards to the summaries of the day's play. So I actually should be doing that very very soon. Um, I'll be getting onto that to publish that on the site very soon and uploading the press conference as well after the show. Lawrence says Akuletele is another one who bowls with decent pace but has very good skill. It's easy to sit now and mention a whole lot of names that should have been selected and shouldn't have been selected when we've seen a performance like this. Um, it's very difficult before a match to a series like this to decide what way to go. To be honest, I didn't think that Dane Patterson. I didn't think that, like I said, I didn't think that some of the players are as slow as they are in this particular match until I saw the speed guns. This thing of picking of one season doing well is not be all it all. Picking on potential is always a way to go. Look at England picking guys who have not even best domestic stats but picked on potential. Abbas says, Hey Kona, you used to play domestic franchise cricket, right? Your name rings a bell. Yannick says Rickerton should be the future opener in the side, not placing much importance on the series. Just hope we see a bit of a revolution in the next series. So all of the sudden, players performing at domestic level ain't that important anymore. I didn't say that players not performing at domestic level, but you are talking about Rivaldo Munsami, who's played 5 games in first division, and you're talking about Lichle, who's his first season this season, scoring 100 in a season. He's had domestic Division 2 experience, but no Division 1 experience other than this season. I mean, are we underestimating Test cricket that much? Are we are we really going to disrespect Test cricket that much by only picking a player based on 4 or 5 games at domestic level? I mean, that's crazy. That's my only thing. I think it's a bit disrespectful to Test cricket to pick a guy for a test team that's only played five games domestically in Division 1. I'm a big fan of Rivaldo Munsami, and I think that he has a lot of potential in the future uh, to be able to to do well in the future. And he's now making a name for himself in first class cricket, and he needs to go on and continue. Um, it's as simple as that. He needs to go on and continue doing what he's doing. I mean, this is his first Division 1 season. He's played for Northerns in before, second division cricket before. He's now playing first division cricket, and he needs to put up his hand. I mean, look what David Bedingham has had to have a couple of. I mean, yeah, look what he had to do to get into the international setup. And yes, it's because Coach Shukri um, liked him and likes his character. But he's been to play county cricket. He's played a couple of seasons in domestic cricket. Maybe it's the wrong example that I'm giving. But I strongly do believe that players do need to have some sort of domestic cricket first division experience as well as performing well. We can't pick a player on one good season. I honestly don't believe that that's the right thing to do because of Test cricket standards. The standards of Test cricket are ridiculous. It's already harder. It's really frustrating to talk about this because I don't feel that I need to explain this, but Test cricket is already harder with regards to standards than the fourth 4-day cricket. It's already tougher from every aspect of the game: mentality, standard, consistency from bowlers, levels of experience, um, strategy. Everything is harder on every level of the game. If you can't perform domestically in Division 1 consistently over 2 seasons, 3 seasons, what makes you think that you're going to be able to play the hardest format of the game? That's why I like to look at more than one season in a domestic arena. I've been lenient with regards to it. I said 2 to 3 seasons in domestic cricket. That's enough to be able to tell a lot about a player's technique and abilities to be able to survive in the middle against the best players. Um, it's not. It is about performing domestically 100%, but it's not about only performing for 4 games, 5 games. It's about performing over 2 or 3 seasons for me. That's my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with that. All in all, I don't think we should be too harsh on the squad. Was kind of expected, if we being honest. As fans, it's hard to take that, I know, but that's just the reality. We shouldn't be too harsh on the squad, but we can be critical about the the way they've lost their wickets. We can be critical, I feel, on David Bedingham, Zubair Hamza, and Keegan Peterson in the manner that they lost their wickets. Particularly after, that's why I said I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. I said that at the start of the show because I feel that the approach after doing such hard work, I mean, if they lost their wicket cheaply after facing 10 deliveries, 12 deliveries, then by all means, I get it. Then we can be critical about it and we can say, okay, cool. But after doing That's why I'm disappointed, I'm saying. Because after doing so much hard work to get yourself to the point, where after performing so hard to get yourself to the point where your eyes in, doing all the hard yards, getting yourself to a 40 or 30 or 20, and then to throw your wicket away like that. That's the disappointment. Lichle says the New Zealand commentators are so biased. The broadcasters only show New Zealand change room. Ours is not shown. Are they in the lead? Lawrence says don't know if you guys also picked it up, but Barkas Naidu, the host broadcaster, is completely disinterested in the SA Test side. News coming out of New Zealand is that NZC is pretty peeved off at CSA. Lorenzo says at this moment we have more future tours that clash with SA20, and if CSA can't sort anything out, more of this will happen, and the cricket world will nail us, unfortunately. Lichle says, I don't think the relations have soured. They unveiled a new trophy for the series. Lorenzo says, I'm not targeting Clyde only. I talked about Dwan, Hamza, KP, and Bedingham. I'm talking about out of the new guys. I'm talking about out of the new guys, Lorenzo. I know you're not only targeting, but out of the new guys, you kind of are. I know that you don't like Clyde Fontaine and his selection in the side, but we should be equally criticizing Neil Brandt, Reiner van Tonde, as well as Eddie Moore. Probably already disrespect Test cricket. But that doesn't mean that we should continue disrespecting Test cricket. We need to make the right decisions moving forward. Lawrence saying, to be honest, Khalid, fans calling for certain players ain't disrespecting Test cricket. CSA sending a second string side is disrespecting New Zealand and Test cricket. Fans will always come up with names. Doesn't make them wrong or right for doing so. You're not wrong or right for doing. That's why I said you have every right for doing so. Not talking about you, but look how many people want Mapaka and Brevis to play for SA already. People can be. There's a lot of contradictions that happen, and that's just the nature of fans in general. I've tried to be as best as possible level headed. I can only talk about what my thought processes is when I'm trying to do these shows for you guys, and I'm trying to be as level headed as possible with regards to saying, having some sort of sense when I'm making suggestions or giving opinions. I might not have the exactly the right decision, the opinion, but I try to be a little bit logical in my thought process of the reasons why I select players. What people need to understand with with players and under 19 players, etc. When you're coming out of high school and you've been destroying high school kids all your whole career, during high school, and you've been slaughtering players your own age, the hype can get quite kind of to your head, I would say, or how good you are can get to your head, especially if you're not playing club cricket. And that's why I said club cricket is extremely important for our younger players to get them back down to earth again, because it helps them not get away ahead of themselves on how good they actually are. Because first class cricket, particularly, will teach you quickly, it will humble you extremely quickly. That's why I've been such a big advocate for our players playing first class cricket and many seasons of it, because it teaches you character, it teaches you patience, it teaches you all the things that you need to do well in this form, in the sport. And that's why I've been given such a big emphasis on that. Same with Mapaka. Okay, with Mapaka, he's a bowler, so you can be a little bit faster with regards to picking him, but I think it's still too early. I don't think we can pick him over under 19 performances in a World Cup. The standard in this under 19 World Cup as well is not that it's necessarily at the the highest standard, as high as a standard as previous World Cups, some people might say. Mapaka is really good and he has a lot of potential. His left arm is quick and he's accurate, but we need to test him against our best domestic cricketers in the country. And I think a good season or two for him in domestic cricket will help him a hell of a lot, and it will give us an understanding of where he's at before we start selecting him. We are in the bowling department when everybody's fit. We've got a lot of options. It's this bloody SA20 that has thrown things off with regards to scheduling. We need to sort this out for future tours. We definitely need to. I don't think that changing the schedule around a little bit is going to affect the attendance to games. Even though these games have been in the prime slots in South Africa, we've still had empty stadiums at Joburg Super Kings, at Newlands. We've still had empty stadiums in certain games because these people can't go and watch games every single day. So there can be an adjustment. I think the stadiums will still be sold out, even if we change the dates because of the brand that they've created. Yannick says Brzezinski might be what people thought Previs was. I don't think we should compare them really. Completely two different players. Brzezinski is a different type of player to Matthew Brzezinski, to Deva Brevis with regards to the mentality and the way he's playing. He's also much more experienced. Brzezinski, what people don't understand about Matthew Brzezinski is that we're seeing Matthew Brzezinski perform now at the age he is, but he's been toiling away at domestic cricket for the last 3-4 seasons. He's been fighting first class cricket, playing, doing the hard yards. And we need our players that give up. No matter how talented you are, no one should be given the I don't even know what the bloody word is. Given the opportunity, or not an opportunity even, nobody should be allowed to miss first class cricket, in my opinion. No matter how talented you are, no matter what your name is, no matter how many T20 leagues you've been picked up around the world, nobody should be given a day or leeway when it comes to the playing domestic cricket. It's so important for the development of our players. We can see it happening with a lot of our players starting to come into their own and starting to get more maturity in their game and their decision makings and everything. Ligle says Makpaka is a generational talent. He should be fast-tracked into the national team. What kind of pace is Mapaka going? We don't know. That's unfortunate. Probably over 140. Lawrence Bailey saying, let's support our under-19 boys. Huge semi-final against India. Yep, there's a massive semi-final against India today as well. That's going to be taking place very soon. Ligle saying the Indian spinners will bamboozle them. They frailties against spin we saw against Sri Lanka. They do have frailties against spin. Most South African batters have frailties against spin. There's another reason why you can't fast-track players. Because they are going to not okay, imagine if you have a batter that is scoring a lot of runs under 19 but he keeps on going out to the spinners, but he's scoring out of a lot of runs in under 19 level, and he's lighting it up, and people are like, oh, this player is the next generational talent, and you throw him in India against those players. What do you think is going to happen to him? I mean, it's going to dent his confidence tremendously. I mean, their confidence, their character, and everything needs to be built up. At the moment, there is no need to fast track Mapaka. I think, personally, opinion alert, fast tracking should only happen when you are desperate. We shouldn't be making decisions when you're desperate anyway. That should be a first decision. But we should only be fast tracking players when we really don't have anybody else that can play, that doesn't have the qualities that the player is displaying. Mapaka is a generational talent and he needs to develop. He's still young, he's still growing. to put him in Test cricket where the pressures are higher, the pressures are much higher, the impact on your body is a lot harder. You're playing 5-day cricket. Um, Especially when you haven't played 4-day cricket. I mean, that is crazy to fast track him into a test side when he hasn't even played one 4-day game. He has no idea what his body's going to. He's never bowled 30, 40 overs in his 20 overs in his life. And you want to throw him in the middle against top nations in the world is quite baffling to me. When you want to throw a batter in young that hasn't faced 3 in swinging deliveries in a row in their life with a red ball, it's baffling to me. When you haven't been set up in a test, when you haven't been set up in swinger, out swinger, you haven't seen those combinations before. I mean, yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. Um, Offside thought, or should Rasi be considered for T20 World Cup? Personally, I do not think so, but it will be, I think, between him and I think it will be between Rasi and Rickleton. Actually, would like SA to at least get 300 on day 4, with one batter getting 100. Those are my 4-day goals. Would be happy with that. Would be happy with that too. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you for all the comments and in the live chat. Please, if you subscribe, if you're new, we are on the route to 5,000 subscribers. So subscribe if you're new. Click that notification bell for all future videos as well, please. That's when you know we will be going live. As you know, we've been going live directly after the day's play, so that everything is fresh in my mind when I give you guys an analysis of the game. Go support our under 19 boys. There's also a qualifier at Newlands today, so got a hell of a lot of hard work to do today. I'll be covering cricket right through from now until tomorrow morning. So it's going to be an extremely tough day for me. So I'm going to be giving you guys all the content. So follow us everywhere. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another review show. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace out, everyone.